20-year-old Sarah Beckstrom, one of the two National Guard members shot in what authorities are calling a targeted ambush near the White House, has died. Communities gathered in Beckstrom's home state of West Virginia on Thursday evening to pay their respects. President Donald Trump made the announcement last night, describing the attack as a deliberate assault on service members carrying out their duties.
Before we begin, I want to express the anguish and the horror of our entire nation at the terrorist attack yesterday in our nation's capital, in which a savage monster gunned down two service members in the West Virginia National Guard who were deployed as part of the D.C. task force, which has done such an incredible job. I mean, until yesterday, we literally had no incidents for many months. It was the safest place imaginable, and this is a different kind of crime. This is a really bad crime. Millions of Americans are praying for those heroes and their families, and I must unfortunately tell you that just seconds before I went on, right now, I heard that Sarah Beckstrom of West Virginia, one of the guardsmen that we're talking about, highly respected, young, magnificent person, started service in June of 2023, outstanding in every way. She's just passed away. She's no longer with us. She's looking down at us right now. Her parents are with her.
Andrew Wolf, the other National Guard member who was shot, remains in critical condition. President Donald Trump says that Wolf is fighting for his life. Authorities say the troops were on a high-visibility patrol just 2 blocks from the White House when the shooting occurred. The suspect, identified as an Afghan national living in Washington state, was taken into custody shortly after the attack. U.S. intelligence officials have confirmed that the suspected shooter previously worked with the CIA-backed military units during the U.S. war in Afghanistan.
A question about this tragic shooting in Washington, D.C. U.S. officials say that the suspect worked very closely with the CIA in Afghanistan for years, that he was vetted, and the vetting came up clean.
He went cuckoo. I mean, he went nuts. And that happens, too. It happens too often with these people. You see them. But look, this is how they come in. This is how they're standing on top of each other, and that's an airplane. There was no vetting or anything. They came in unvetted. And we have a lot of others in this country. We're going to get them out. But they go cuckoo. Something happens to them.
Your DOJ IG just reported this year that there was thorough vetting by DHS and by the FBI of these Afghans who were brought into the U.S. So why do you blame the Biden administration?
Because they let them in. Are you stupid? Are you a stupid person? Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in.
I'm now joined by Andrew Donaldson, an editor at OrdinaryTimes.com, to help break down what we know so far. Andrew, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Teresa.
Now, authorities are calling this a targeted attack. What does that mean in terms of how this incident is being investigated?
Well, although we have a lot that we don't know yet, it's pretty clear it was targeted. By all accounts, this individual came around the corner and just opened up on these guards people who were there on the corners of Farragut Square, a very busy area just a couple blocks from the White House. There's a metro station right there, especially on a holiday weekend. This was a very open, very brazen attack. And it's very clear it was targeted. So even though we can probably accurately call it terrorism, obviously they were targeting military that was in full uniform and very high visibility at the time. I don't know how you'd call it anything other than targeting, no matter where this investigation goes from here.
And one National Guard member has actually passed away, and Andrew Wolf remains in critical condition. How is the military responding to this attack on its personnel?
The way they always do and are always good at, they close ranks and take care of their own. There will be a massive outpouring of support for these families. Obviously, because of the political situation that happened in D.C., there was a lot of people there. I know West Virginia's governor, these were West Virginia guardsmen. He was actually at the hospital visiting these families close to the time that this is going on. And as Andrew Wolf continues to hopefully recover, they'll get all kinds of support from the military. This is what they do. They close ranks. They will take care of their own. Whatever the political and the news of the day is, you now have one person who is dead and will need to have honors and burial and a family that will grieve. And you have another military member that has a very, very long road of hopeful recovery in the hospital and will need all sorts of support, both for him as he medically recovers and rehabs, and for the families. The military is very, very good at that part of this, and they'll obviously have the outpouring of the whole country on top of all that, along with thoughts and prayers of people around the world.
Now, as I mentioned, these troops were on a high visibility patrol just 2 blocks from the White House. How unusual is it for such a patrol to be targeted?
It's very unusual. This is the first one of the recent events where President Trump has been putting troops in the streets, places like Portland and Chicago. DC is one of the more high profile ones. DC is also one of the more legally fraught ones because the District of Columbia is under federal control. It's not a state, it's not a municipality, it's not a city like Chicago. So there was a lot of different layers to this, but for it to be such a brazen attack and for it to target uniformed troops, that's pretty unprecedented in the modern era. And we're going to see what happens with this suspect who's obviously going to have some kind of a radicalization moment. There's going to be some reason that we may or may not ever find out. He apparently traveled clear across country. There's a lot of domestic and foreign policy stuff tied in here because he was from Afghanistan, because he does seem to have ties to the military operations there, because he was on a special status to get in the country. Those are all things that are going to have to tie into this, and it's going to keep this story very high profile going forward.
Now, yesterday, Donald Trump made a post on his Truth Social account vowing to pause migration from all third world countries. Is this a predictable response? And is this the response that the United States is looking for right now?
It's entirely predictable. This is exactly what there's certain members of his administration have been wanting all along. A lot of them would actually like to stop all migration. They would like to start all immigration. They'd like to stop it altogether. This was probably a natural step. Remember, the first term, he had shut down what he had called third world and other derogatory terms from multiple countries. Obviously, there was a failure of the vetting process, not just the Biden administration. The Trump administration also approved this individual recently, we have reporting on. So there was all kinds of problems with this. Now, if he just, as the president said, something happened to this individual and they went off the rails and decided to radicalize or was radicalized by somebody else, we'll find that out. Is pausing absolutely all immigration, migration, and overreaction? Probably, but it's not unexpected.